Believe it or not, it's not that easy to get married in Italy with €60,000. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you can do it. Ciao, I'm Lucy, I'm an Italian wedding planner and I'm the founder of Lista.com, the website that exists just to help you have the easiest time planning your Italian wedding. This is the second in our series of budgeting episodes. So last time I talked about a budget of €40,000, and if you haven't watched that already, that's a really good base to watch before watching this video, as I'm going to reference it a little. I've linked to that video below. Before I get started, I just want to say that this info is here to help you. All I intend is that you're able to have the best wedding that you can, and that the information I give makes your wedding planning easier. Obviously, everybody has a completely different budget and they have different expectations of what they want from their wedding. What you spend will completely depend on your priorities, the things that are important to you and where you want to spend your money. What I say today may not be relevant. So in the last video, I talked about a wedding that was for 60 people, and it was really tight to try and fit a full wedding into the €40,000 budget. So in this video, because we have €60,000, we have that 20,000 extra to just loosen the reins a little bit and make some of the areas of planning that bit easier. So I've done two scenarios. The first one is where you still have 60 guests with €60,000. So with that extra €20,000, my top things to add would be a wedding planner. Easy to say as a wedding planner, but I can't stress enough how having an expert guide you through all of this and all of your decision making is actually going to earn the money back for you. The money that you invest in a planner is really there to make sure that you get the best value you can throughout your wedding, and they genuinely earn their money back in saving you time, money, in mistakes and errors. They will guide you towards making the best decisions that you can. You won't waste money on things you don't need. They'll show you where to best invest your spend so that you have the biggest impact of your wedding. So the next area to invest some of this extra cash in is your priority areas. So usually that's catering. In the last video, you'll have seen I talked a lot about catering and how that has to remain the priority. Even when you have a smaller budget, you still need to make the most of the catering spend, because that is the actual arc of your whole entire Italian wedding, and it is a huge part of the experience that your guests are going to have. So protecting that budget is key. But now we have a little bit more. Maybe there's something extra that we want to add in here. So it might be that you want to extend the amount of time that your caterers are on site for. You want to extend the amount of time that you have your bar and your party for. That is somewhere that I'd suggest that you put the money, because every Italian caterer works for approximately 7 hours. So actually the 7 hours will usually end about 11, 12 o'clock at night. So why not extend the best day of your life by a couple of hours for a relatively small fee? I'd then think about whether there's any other areas that you really wanted to have something different in that 40 grand budget, but you couldn't quite have it. So maybe you compromised and you had a photographer that was a little bit less expensive. With this budget, you can have that slightly different photographer that you really wanted. Maybe you cut back on the welcome event and you didn't have that full pizza party that you wanted to have. This time, you are going to be able to do that within this budget. So rather than being specific and giving you the things that you should definitely do, I'd say just take a good look at the budget that you have left. Once you maybe have a planner, once you have thought about how you've invested in your catering, see what's left and where you might want to give a little bit more budget to the priority areas that you really care about. The second scenario is you've got that €60,000, but you've got 80 guests instead of 60. So again, I definitely add a planner here. Having 80 guests is a little bit of a different ball game to having 60 guests. You're probably going to have a bigger venue. You're going to have more operational things going on, more logistics, and it's really important that you get those right so you can really enjoy your planning and your wedding day, and that is where a planner should support you. So adding in a planner would be my number one thing to do. Adding 20 guests will add to the catering budget, and it will also add to other lines of your budget. So it might add to the transport, it might add to the decor line, and obviously it would also add to any other catering events that you do decide to have. So I would estimate that that might add about 5 or 6 grand to your budget out of that extra 20 that we've added. So once you've invested potentially in these 20 extra guests and the planner, you're probably going to have about €8,000 left. And like in scenario A, I would literally go through your budget and sense check somewhere that you've maybe made a compromise. If you've tried to kind of get it down to that €40,000 budget, review it and think about where you want to invest those few extra grand. I'd also say that in all scenarios, we'd always want a buffer. Whenever you go through planning, every single wedding I plan, the buffer gets spent. So if you have a buffer that's about 5 to 10% of your wedding budget, you just feel safe in the knowledge that as you're going through planning, you can maybe dip into it a little bit here and there when you have something that you really, really want, or nearer the end, you just know that you're going to have that for the inevitable things that come up that are a little bit higher than the forecast that you've given for your budget. So with today's budget, there's an article that we've built that you can see, where you can see these two different budget scenarios and how we get to €60,000 with 60 guests and 80 guests. The link to that article will be in the comments below. Thank you for being here with me. If you would like more transparent advice straight from me, you could look at our membership, the club, where I have loads and loads of videos just like this, full of all the information that I have and know about planning Italian weddings. There are tons of tools in there, and I also meet our members every 2 weeks to have live Q&As, and we also meet up with some of my industry expert friends who also share their amazing knowledge. I'll see you next time.